Welcome again to video 4 in a series of 17 reasons why entrepreneurs fail in business. Hope you're enjoying it so far. All right, so what's number 4? Number 4 is one of the reasons that entrepreneurs fail in business is because they don't have the right processes and systems. Never forget this. This is so vitally important. So today I want to go over a couple processes and systems. I'll share with you some that we use. I'll share some that other companies use that are very important. And we'll talk about the psychology of why many companies, entrepreneurs, individual business owners, especially the smaller ones, don't use processes and systems. So let's go ahead and talk about that. So what's a process and system? Basically, a process and system, by the way, this is tequila this morning or today. A process and system is just a process designed to simplify some type of a workflow or procedure. And I want you to be thinking about a process or procedure would be the assembly line. Henry Ford, he changed the way companies operate by creating a process or system that massively duplicated the results that they were using typically before. All right, so that's a process and system. If you have, like for me, I have a process and system for my groceries. If I think, I need some protein powder or I need some apples, I don't write it down on a piece of paper and then worry about where the piece of paper is. I have a process and system on my phone. I can tell my assistant, hey, do me a favor and add such and such, and it goes to my phone automatically. So when I go to a grocery store, I just don't have to remember anything. It's all right there. So a couple processes and systems. Monday.com, I've never used it, but I hear it's a great software. What we use is ClickUp.com, phenomenal software. Now, here's the problem with some of these systems and processes. You might have to hire somebody to do it. A CRM, a contact resource management software, that is a process and system. And I find that every time you take your business to the next level, you probably need another kind of process and system. I have somebody, and all he does, he's an expert on processes and systems. So let's talk about why some entrepreneurs don't apply processes and systems. One is because they don't know what they don't know. They have no idea. If I showed you what ClickUp can do, because you have no idea, it will blow your mind. And it could be some other type of management or process system. For example, we had one particular process. We used Google Docs. We use Excel sheets in Google Docs, drop-down sheets, and man, we thought when we did that, it was just the bomb. Then we brought somebody in, and I showed him what we're doing, and I said, there's got to be a simpler way. He goes, oh my gosh, this is ridiculous what you're doing. And I'm thinking, man, this is kind of slick the way we had it. And the process and system now, what normally would take, oh my gosh, I don't know, I know it doesn't sound like much, 15 minutes, a half an hour, is now like literally seconds. I can literally go online and look at it, and in 5 seconds see where everything is that I need to see. Whereas before, I would have to call somebody and ask somebody. I'd have to go to one page here, one page. Massive change in what it's done for the business. All right. The other thing is they don't understand how it makes money for them. They don't understand how it would make money for them because they feel it costs either too much to purchase or it costs too much to put together. That would be similar to, let's say that we see somebody who's a lumberjack and they're just taking their axe and they're hitting that tree and they're hitting that tree over and over and over and over, and nothing seems to be happening. And then we go up to that lumberjack and we say, hey, I got an observation. Do you mind if I share it with you? And he goes, yeah. I take his axe, or you take his axe, and you look at it and you touch the end of it. It's just dull. And you say, you've got to sharpen your axe. And he looks at us and he says, I don't have time for it. And grabs his axe and keeps going, working hard but getting nowhere, pushing a parked car, active, but active accomplishing nothing. So the biggest problem that you're going to have in implementing systems and processes is that you're going to have to take some time, stop hitting at the tree, and sharpen your axe. A lot of people have a hard time justifying that. I know that the cost and time and money to implement a process will change the business forever. So never forget that. Number 3 is where. Where do I begin? Where do I even begin? Ask around, ask other people in your industry. Or if you've never heard of ClickUp, do some research on ClickUp, or go somewhere and hire a ClickUp expert or a Monday.com expert. I'm telling you, if you're not doing this, especially if you're a solo entrepreneur, this is the time to lay the right foundation. You can use systems and processes at your home. I have a list for a house manager, and that list shows everything that needs to be done. And we have a process and system for all of our videos that we put out. So when we put out videos in our content, what happens is it goes into ClickUp, and then it tells us, is the video written? Then is it filmed? And then once it's filmed, it goes to the editor. And then when it goes to the editor, it goes to review. And then it goes to completed. Then it goes to scheduled. It's all automated. Nobody has to think about it. You just push a button, push a button, push a button, push a button. That's it. All right? So did it take time to get somebody to do that? Absolutely. But what's cool about it, once you have that figured out, then you see, wait a minute, I can use it for other areas. And I can do it over here, and I do it over here. And I think the biggest reason why people don't have processes and systems is because it does take time. It's time consuming. But you have to be figuring out, what's a smarter way here? Do you want to sit here and work really hard and do things the long way? Or are you willing to step back a little bit, learn all this, or hire somebody? You don't want to learn all this. Trust me, I have zero idea on or ambition to learn how to do ClickUp. I know enough about it to do a couple things, but once I get beyond my couple things, I give it to somebody else. Just give it right away to somebody else. But this is the processes that's going to change your business. I'll show you a simple one that we use. Have you ever text somebody, hey, I'll see you in a little bit, and they respond, yeah, okay, and then, or you text somebody directions to something, or somebody in your company, maybe you're sending them an email, hey, can you please make sure you do this for me? And they go, sure. And then you respond, okay, I appreciate that. And then they respond, no problem. You go back and forth and back and forth. It's distracting. So we have little codes. One of the biggest codes that we have is the code or acronym NFT. What's NFT? Not for text. Somebody reaches out to me and says, well, maybe they're texting me and they're going, well, I don't know. Do you think we should do this or this or that? Or we have somebody, they're bothered about somebody in the company or bothered about something. That is not for text. Have a conversation. So we do not for text. Here's a big one that I use constantly. It's DR. What does DR mean? Don't respond. So if I send an email to somebody, hey, do me a favor, we need this, I'll end it with DR. That means I don't need you to respond, because by you responding, it wastes your time for you to respond. Number 2, it's going to waste my time, because now I have to open it up in my email and my email. So this is a very, very simple process, but it is a process to save time. All right, so think about that. How can you automate your business? How can you automate your flow? There's so many processes and systems and software out there that most people don't have any idea that it even exists. So investigate a lot of this, and when you take the time to do this, trust me, it will make your business so much smoother. I remember one of the top things that my billionaire mentor, when I talked to him about, what's one of his keys of having a well-run operation doing billions of dollars, 2 words: processes and systems. What are your processes and systems? It's something that you want to be relatively obsessed with, or at least have somebody in your company obsessed with it. And if you're a small company, that's a perfect time to get started, because what it's going to do for you, it's kind of like, the autopilot I have in my jet. It's like another person. Once you put it on autopilot, you just pull your hands back and it just takes stress off of you immediately. So once you get some of these systems automated and put into your business, it just takes the stress off of you, so you can go ahead and focus on the number 1 video we talked about, income producing activity. All right, hope this has given you something to think about. Make sure you take time to sharpen your axe, because it will make a massive difference in your life. So from Tequila and me, remember, don't let anything rent space in your head. Have an awesome day. Master and get implementing your processes and systems.